you imagine the confusion of people who put all of their stock and faith in the religious clergy, and only to see them destroyed at the opening salvo of the Great Tribulation? Can you imagine people walking around the streets with clubs, looking for whoever might be left of the religious clergy? Looking for them, yes. We want to find you because, you know, we had a chance to get a Bible study, a 19 3-week course of a Bible study, and you told us those Jehovah's Witnesses are not to be fooled with, and you told us all we had to do is come down here and sit and listen to you and we'll be saved. And now the church is gone, it's all burned up, and this stuff is gone, and we don't have a prayer and we don't have a chance, and you fooled us. And they're going to finish off who's left.
Jesus made it clear at Luke 21:11 that pestilence would be part of the sign of the last days. And in Revelation chapter 6, the ride of the fourth horseman includes mention of deadly plague. So the events unfolding around us are making clearer than ever that we're living in the final part of the last days, undoubtedly the final part of the last days, shortly before the last day of the last days. But while the situation is serious, as Jehovah's people, we do not need to panic.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Beautiful, cloudy Sunday morning.
Yes, it is. Gives me another excuse to wear a flannel shirt. These days are being limited.
You and your flannel shirts. Oh, my goodness. We had the two clips at the beginning. The first clip, we can only assume that this is a gung-ho Jehovah Witness, because I haven't seen any video like this put out by Watchtower. But this video is going viral in the XJW community and in the general public. Many are sharing it because now we know this is how Jehovah's Witnesses really feel of what is going to happen in the near future. But Watchtower won't put a video out like this because it shows so much, not hate, but how they feel about the world and the government and how everybody's going to be killed by Jehovah. Now, for instance, going along with this video, the reason I don't think Watchtower would put out a video like this, even though they all know, all of the JWs and all of us ex-JWs know this is how they really feel, because in the book they put out in 2014, I believe, Live with Jehovah's Day in Mind. In this book, on page 171, I'm going to read this. Paragraph 10. You want to be courageous, but you should also be tactful in approaching people with the warning message. We need to be gentle or tactful toward all, even when the message is about the impending day of Jehovah. How is this video gentle or tactful? That is like a slap in your face, video that if you do not become a Jehovah's Witness, you're going to die at Armageddon.
I mean, did you notice the last sentence, Kim? This is what it reads. When declaring the warning message, can we help people by viewing them as possible sheep? Not assuming a negative view of them, but yet every Jehovah's Witness, every ex-Jehovah's Witness knows and comprehends that the Jehovah's Witnesses do take a negative view of these people. That's why they sit in the back of their cars, when they get thrown off the front porch and say, oh, I can't wait for Jehovah to kill them. In fact, after Armageddon, I'm going to walk into their home. They always have a negative view of people. Well, it also shows the intolerance for other religious theologies.
Yeah, because he's bashing other religions.
That's right. And, the whole thing is every ex-Jehovah's Witness that watches all of us, every single solitary one of us, understand and comprehend that behind closed doors, and even in the, the deepest, darkest recesses of the Watchtower articles, this is what Watchtower has been pushing. We all know that this is what they say, this is what they preach, and it's all based on, a book that they have used to destroy lives. Even though they call themselves, spiritual Israelites, we are the anointed of Jehovah, and they use that book to give themselves some sort of implied authority, validating that, we are the anointed. They still use that book to mislead and direct people to their deaths. And they're using that same book to get the world at large, to get other religions at large, to persecute them, so that they can say, see, we have the true religion because this is what the Bible prophesied. But it's scripted prophecy. It's manufactured bullshit is what it really is. But in the mind of the Jehovah Witness that's still fully indoctrinated, like my mother, her mom, they might stumble upon something like this and say, yay, Jehovah's day is near. He's going to wipe out all wickedness. But since you ignore the child abuse problem as spiritual Israelites, you ignore the harm that your own organization has done to humanity. You have separated families. You have flip-flop doctrines that brought people to their deaths. Your shunning policy has made people commit suicide. So as spiritual Israelites, Jehovah's Witnesses, you suck.
Well, the reason we're doing this video is because we are hearing from all over the world that the circuit overseers and elders are really pushing this COVID as the beginning of the end. Circuit overseers are saying, they're telling the congregations that we are minutes from the Great Tribulation and Armageddon. Minutes. Now, how is this not fear-mongering? And the reason I put Let's Clip back up there is this is where they're getting it.
Yeah.
The final part of the last days. So this is why the circuit overseers now are saying we're in the final minutes till Armageddon. And the elders are calling those who have been trying to fade, they haven't seen for a while, inactive. Jehovah's Witnesses are calling family members that left the organization and saying, this is it.
Yeah.
This is the beginning.
But at the same time, when the Jehovah Witness watches Let's little spiel here, they neglect to say or hear what he says. This isn't time to panic. But yet, what are they doing?
Panicking.
They're panicking. Almost as, really, this is Watchtower's version of panic toilet paper buying.
Yeah.
And we're getting a lot of emails from ex-Jehovah's Witnesses asking us, how can we convince our friends, our family members, not to go back to Watchtower? And that's a very difficult question to answer without getting very specific about what Watchtower has already taught about those who left Jehovah's organization and about serving Jehovah with dates in mind. So we're going to explore that, because for those of you that might have or be in that situation, you might want to recall to their minds what Watchtower has previously said. And I hate to say it, friends, but you're already dead, because that's what's in Watchtower's heart already, and that's brought out in these Watchtower articles.
Now I have the 2012 bond volume here, Watchtower. Cat hair flying around here. September 15th, Watchtower. Study Watchtower. We are going to go over to page 24. The subheading at the top, benefit by keeping on the watch. We all know this. Paragraph 5. First, our not knowing when the end will arrive allows us to reveal what is really in our heart. Yeah, we're going to go there.
Do you understand, friends, why I made the statement you're already dead? Because what's in your heart?
In fact, not knowing dignifies us, allowing us to use our free will in manifesting our loyalty to Jehovah. See, this doesn't include those who have left. Because you're not loyal. We're not loyal to Jehovah's organization.
And if you come back right now because your family members are telling you, oh, please come back, Jehovah's bringing the end of this, you're not going back with a pure heart. You're going back for selfish reasons. And Watchtower knows it.
Well, they even said this. Funny, this is back in 2012. It's very appropriate for now. Although we look forward to surviving the end of this system, we serve Jehovah because we love him, not merely to get life. So, Watchtower is scaring these ones who have left and faded. Come back so you can get life. So they're going against their own article.
Their own method of teaching.
We find pleasure in doing his will, and we realize that God is teaching us to benefit ourselves. No, we do not find his commandments burdensome. Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
Well, it may not be God's commandments.
No, it's not.
But it's Watchtower's policies we find burdensome.
Again, misconstrued, hidden within the pages of the Bible.
Yeah. Paragraph 6. A second benefit of our not knowing the day or hour is that we thus have the opportunity to make Jehovah's heart glad when we serve him out of love, not because of a date or solely because of a reward. We contribute to Jehovah's answer to the baseless taunts of his adversary Satan. Considering all the pain and sorrow that the devil has caused, we gladly stand up for Jehovah's sovereignty and reject Satan's wicked rule.
Oh my God! What a mouthful that those writers wrote right there.
Yeah. If God, Jehovah, is the God Almighty of the entire universe, he doesn't have to answer Satan's taunts.
No!
Because according to Watchtower's policy and their doctrines and their teachings, Satan is a mere angel.
That's right.
Which brings up a question that I've always had, and I know many others have too. Why has God allowed this to go on for, according to Watchtower, 6,000 years just to prove Satan's wrong? And just to prove that we would serve him? I mean, that's stupid. That's stupid. When you
ludicrous.
Look back now, that belief is like, there is no universal sovereign issue. Jesus alone settled that. So Jehovah's Witnesses, why do you have to still think you're proving, Satan a liar?
Well, Job, see, this is the problem with Christian apologetics. They really don't think anything through, especially the apologists that belong to the Watchtower Babel Crap Society, because you've indoctrinated all of us with this is a universal issue of who has the right to rule, Jehovah or Satan. Jehovah or Satan. Look at all the harm that Jehovah has caused. Look at all the harm that Satan has caused on this earth. Look at all the harm that the Watchtower Bible Tract Society has caused using that name Jehovah. You see, friends? They're one in the same, but you can't separate. But here's the issue, and I hope that every Jehovah's Witness that stumbles onto this will comprehend what your book, the Bible, really says. Go back to the challenge with Job. What was the challenge? Well, he's only worshiping you because of the good things you do for him. Yada, yada, yada. Take it all away and see if he will not curse you to his face. What did God do, supposedly? What did Jehovah say? Well, here, I give it all into your hand. Do whatever you want, but do not harm his soul. Did Satan, the devil, have to obey that mandate? Yes. There is no universal sovereignty issue. It's an apologetics line of bullshit. There is no universal issue because Satan, the devil, had to obey. Figure it out. It's not hard. It's right there in black and white.
And like I said, I've always said, even as a witness, I said, why is this an issue when God the Father, the universal sovereign, could have done away with? So what if somebody says, oh, well, you just destroyed Satan. Why, and bring question? No! Over and done with. According to Christians' belief and Jehovah's Witnesses' belief, if Jehovah and Jesus created man with this free will, well then our free will, and then here comes Satan, Lucifer, this angel, and says, oh, I want all the worship. Well, then we have the free will to worship who we want. So is it an issue of we have free will, or do we have to obey God the Father as universal sovereign? So this universal sovereign issue that Jehovah's Witnesses have, it doesn't even make sense.
Well, see, and the thing is it's just not Jehovah's Witnesses that argue that because, when you listen to certain apologists, they'll say, well, see, God created us, so he has the right to kill us. No, because in your Christian theology, we were all created with free will. God gave up that right to arbitrarily kill us if we don't worship him, unless your theology about free will is absolutely wrong and is to be flushed down the shitter. Here's the other argument. In the Bible, I think it's King David that says, and he has given the earth to the sons of men. If God gave us this earth, and there again, going back to the Garden of Eden, we give you dominion over the animals.
Over the earth.
Over the earth.
Subdue the earth. Make it a paradise.
It's within our realm to fix our problems, and quit crying to God for something that we can fix. And one of the things that we can fix is get rid of bullshit religions that play on the fear in the human mind that Watchtower does. Because when you read their literature and what they say publicly are two different things. They absolutely contradict themselves.
Yeah. Now, even though I got that clip from the video that is posted on Facebook, it is on YouTube, and the name of the video is The Great Tribulation, Jehovah's Day. But like I said, this video is being passed around. Jehovah's Witnesses are passing around saying, yay, what a great video. And some even think Watchtower did this. No, they did not.
I don't think they did.
I don't think they did, because some of the information he has in here about, the clergy and stuff, and see, he's taken clips from different news items. So I don't think this is a Watchtower video, and I don't think Watchtower would want this much information or this much disclosure to the world of how they really feel about you.
Yeah, exactly.
I just wanted to cover the third point in this article.
We kind of digressed a little bit.
Yeah. We got sidetracked a lot.
Well, the thing is that this embroils so much thought process and so much bullshit that you have to wade through it.
We need rubber boots. Paragraph 7. Third, our serving without a specific date in mind encourages us to pursue a life of self-sacrifice. Some today who do not know God also believe that the world as we know it cannot go on for much longer. being afraid of some impending disaster. They have the attitude, let us eat and drink, for tomorrow we are to die. We, on the other hand, are not fearful. Yes,
Yes, you are.
Because you think Armageddon is coming. My mom is sitting at home waiting for Armageddon.
You know, just recall the clip at the beginning. Look at what they're doing. They are instilling fear even in the John Q public by saying they're going to pick up clubs and they're going to go beat their, charlatans, their religious leaders, saying, we had an opportunity to study with Jehovah's Witnesses, but you stopped it.
Yeah. I love the next sentence in this Watchtower. We refuse to isolate ourselves so as to cater to our own selfish longings. Rather, we disown ourselves and freely make use of our time, energy, and other assets to share the good news of God's kingdom with others. I thought it was the good news of the gospel.
Well, yeah, it's the good news of the gospel. Well, see, it's implied that the good news of the gospel is the good news of the kingdom.
Yeah. Number 4, paragraph 8. Our fourth benefit to our not knowing the day or the hour is that it helps us to rely more fully on Jehovah and to be diligent in applying His Word in our life. Now, I just wanted to mention, the governing body has come up with a number 3 update, and it's done by the latest GB member, Kenneth Cook. Now, if you go and listen to that, he actually says in there, it's not that long of a video, but he actually says in there to obey the superior authorities, which I have to ask. So how come they won't obey the superior authorities and go report any allegation of child abuse that they hear about? But Jehovah's Witnesses won't do that.
I know why.
Because they pick and choose?
No, because it's called the sacred secret. Freemasons know what that means.
Yeah.
It's called the sacred secret.
Yeah.
Do your homework.
Yeah. Now, as far as getting to the date of the time of the end, they say, oh, we do not know, and all of us who have left know that they were pushing 1975 and several other dates. Did you all know they even admit it?
No, please tell me that when they admit it, they blame it on somebody else.
1993 Watchtower, November 1st, page 12. Paragraph 20. The year 1925 came to its conclusion, but the end was not yet. Ever since the 1870s, Bible students had been serving with a date in mind.
Wait, that would be throwing Charles Taze Russell and the Bible students under the bus now, wouldn't it? Talk about serving with a date in mind.
So now they're blaming the Bible students in the 1870s.
But wait, doesn't Watchtower own the international Bible students?
Well,
in England, I understand that there are two different factions.
Yeah, the original Bible students that followed Russell are still thriving in this country, and they have a website, the International Bible Students, and they still have all of Russell's books and teachings and everything.
Yep.
But see, Watchtower couldn't keep that name because they're the ones that splintered off from the original Bible students.
Right.
But Watchtower still uses the corporation, the International Bible Students, like in England and Europe and some of these other countries.
Right.
They still use that.
Where at that time there was no legal corporation, International Bible Students. So what Watchtower did is they made it a legal corporation in these other countries because they couldn't do it in the United States of America. And then the International Bible Students in these other countries became Watchtower's corporation that they used as a charity. Roots, shoots, and cahoots.
Yeah, and those in cahoots.
Yeah.
Maybe we should put the link down below to that video because it's really interesting. It's a lecture about all of these religions that started in the mid-1800s. So I'm going to put the link down below to that. You might enjoy watching that. All right, I'm going to read that one again. Ever since the 1870s, Bible students had been serving with a date in mind. First 1914, then 1925. Now they realize that they must serve for as long as Jehovah's Witnesses wishes. The January 1st, 1926 issue of the Watchtower carried the landmark article, "Who Will Honor Jehovah?" highlighting as never before the importance of God's name. And it's interesting because they had a very similar article in 1976 saying that we needed to serve Jehovah not with a date in mind, but for eternity.
But yet, in a subversive backdoor approach, Watchtower is saying these are the last of the last of the final part of the last days. They're still projecting, serving with a date in mind. Thus, all of the Jehovah's Witnesses that have family members that left the truth are now contacting these family members that you need to come back because Jehovah's Day is upon us. You need to come to the organization before the ark doors closed. But symbolically, Jehovah's Witnesses, that ark door's already been closed because your articles closed those doors when you say and state, well, we don't want to serve with a date in mind. See, if you serve with a date in mind, then your heart is not whole. Your heart is not pure. Your heart has bad intentions, bad motives. See, the only reason why you want to go back to Jehovah's organization is so that you can save your own skins at Armageddon. It's nonsense.
Yeah. Now I'm going to put the link down below to the video on Facebook. And this is what the JW said. This video needs no intro, but I will say this. It is powerful. The world doesn't get this. We do.
We get it.
The false religions of the world, both Christian and non-Christian alike, don't get this. Only Jehovah's people do. The warning has gone out, but who's listening? Well, it's practically here. Are we ready for this? Well, get ready. Enjoy the show.
Oh, enjoy the slaughter. Do you see what's in their hearts, people? So why would you want to go back to an organization that is glorifying the murder of good people on this earth through that bullshit name Jesus? It just depends on what religious affiliation as to who you really believe Jehovah is.
Yeah.
The lack of study, the lack of research, and the ignorance among Jehovah's Witnesses, it's astounding. I know, because I was a Jehovah's Witness for 42 years, and there were things that I read in the Watchtower that made me sit back and think, wait a minute, well, do you remember when we had that Bible study in Wisconsin with that nice couple? I forget what their name was. This is when we was living up in Coleman. Really nice young couple. And this one right here kept telling me on the way home, you need to stick with the information, Mike. You're making these studies way too long. But at that time, we were already connecting a lot of dots. And I couldn't help myself but to incorporate them in the Bible studies, and then I would have to say, but don't, we need to wait for the faithful slave to make it clear.
Then he wonders why they never progressed and became witnesses.
I think I was
actually talking them out of it at the same time.
Yeah,
I was trying to
and I wasn't even realizing what I was doing at that time, but I recognize it now. Yeah.
I did.
This one here on the way home is, geez, honey, that Bible study went 2 hours. I know, I just kind of need to bring in all these points.
And it's like, yeah, but do you realize what you were doing? You were actually telling them, where the Watchtower is wrong.
Don't come to Jehovah's organization. But friends, that information's there. Stop listening to these bullshit men that sit and say in front of the camera, we're not inspired, we're not infallible, but do you trust a faithful slave? Why in the hell would you trust anybody that says we're not inspired?
That they're still roving about.
Yeah, why would you trust that? That would be like trusting any Christian apologist that uses circular reasoning, that throws in a straw man argumentation, or deflects from what you really want to talk about, or throws in a red herring.
Or any Christian that has a picture of a fish on their car,
Yeah.
or in their house, or on their Bible, or anywhere, when in the Bible, in the Mosaic Law, if I remember right,
Do
not
not.
to have any carved image or even of a fish.
And it specifically says an image of a fish. And yet on the back of Christian cars, what do? They use the image of a fish. How contradictory is that theology according to the Mosaic Law? They don't get it.
But yet some don't like it when we point this kind of stuff out and tell you the truth.
No,
And
because
expose the hypocrisy. See, that's what we're just trying to do. We just want to get people to think. And, we're just trying to expose hypocrisy.
and some people misinterpret by entitling a video as hubris. They misinterpret confidence for another word. Jeez. You gain this confidence by doing study and research.
Yeah.
You gain confidence in what you know. It's not pride.
Yeah.
It's confidence because you've spent the time studying and researching. I want to. Would you gonna say something?
Well, I was just going to say, it's not pride when I can see a lot of these Christians with this fish symbol everywhere, and then I read in the Bible not to have carved images or even of a fish, and it's like, wait a minute here. So this isn't pride. I mean, this is just observation.
It's not arrogance.
And reading in your own book.
And that's the problem, is that your religious charlatans won't let you read that book. They won't let you read that. And how do I know? Because there's been many occasions when I've had a conversation with a Jehovah Witness elder, and I'll say something directly from the Bible, and then the elder will say, well, where'd you get that? Duh, I get it right from the Bible.
Yeah.
Duh. It's like, come on, people. You've got to quit playing this game with religious charlatans. When Kim and I first woke up, like many, many, many of you, you go on this journey. And the journey still remains with the identity of being a Christian. So what's the first thing a lot of us have done? We wake up, we realize that Watchtower's lied to us, so we go on this journey to find the truth. One of the first things that Kim and I did is we went to a Christian bookstore in Albuquerque. And we were looking at all the myriads and myriads
Thousands of books.
and myriads, once again, in myriads of Christian-related books. Myriads and myriads of different versions of the sacred word, the Holy Scriptures. So I decided to go into a corner that was entitled Apologetics. Christian Apologetics. And I thought, yep, this would be a good way to counteract the Watchtower and Babel Crap Society nonsense. So I opened up a book and I started thumbing through. And as I read these apologetics explanation of everything, and having read the Bible, having done my own thinking, I thought, these apologists have got nothing. So I never bought an apologist book. What I did is I just came back home and I started studying the Bible once again by itself from a critical standpoint. Look at the text. The text contradicts itself. And then when you watch what Jane Doe did in one of her previous videos about Deuteronomy 21:14, if I remember correctly, she did a beautiful job in pointing out that the Jehovah's Witnesses avoid saying anything about that scripture. They'll talk about the first 13 verses, but they will purposely not say a word about verse 14. Why? Because it's rape. It's absolutely rape of women. That's where apologetics falls flat to the floor, because there are certain things in this Bible that the apologists do not want to talk about. And one other thing they don't want to talk about is the blessing from the archangel Gabriel to Ishmael. See, how did Jehovah send an angel to Isaac and bless it? His seed would become a mighty nation. And then Paul talks about Ishmael only being, the child of a slave girl. But yet, when you read the Bible, Ishmael gets the same blessing that Isaac does. They can't deal with it.
Well, that's why a lot of these apologists and Bible bullies, they won't go after a specific thing we bring out in the Bible. They would rather call us names and go off on this tangent that has nothing to do with the specific thing we read in the Bible.
Because they know they can't do it. They know they can't do it.
Well, there's no explanation for it either. I mean, how do you explain some of this stuff?
Well, here's the thing. If you read the story of Ishmael getting a blessing from Gabriel, Jehovah's issue, then that throws out the whole theology of Isaac. It flushes it right down the toilet. So then what do? Oh, they got to come up with some little fancy word like hubris, arrogant, yada, yada, yada. No, it's confidence, because I've read the story and I see the contradiction. See, what a lot of these friends, especially these apologists, what they do not want to recognize is that this book, in large and in part, is nothing but a family feud. Goes all the way back to Cain and Abel. Brother killing brother. Moses marries a Midianite, produces children, and then you read later in Scripture, they're killing all the Midianites. Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, was a Midianite priest, and yet what do you read later? Kill the Midianites, kill them all. Family killing family. Figure it out.
Well, I just wanted to mention too, I think you were reading comments underneath your video about Jabulon and stuff. And yes, there is a scripture in Ezekiel that talks about the city of On and the young men from the city of On. Now, when you start doing your research, it was also known as Heliopolis.
Heliopolis.
Which archaeologists just happen to have found here in the past decade. What's interesting about Heliopolis is when you start doing research, it actually means the city of the sun.
And I have a part 2 coming up about that because, hey, Gus, pay attention, pal. I've got the encyclopedias. I have the Imperial Bible Dictionary. I learned some stuff from that encyclopedia that's written for Christians that you ain't gonna like.
Joseph's father-in-law, Potipharah.
That name means something very specific connected to sun worship.
Yeah.
Bring it on. Yeah. This is why Kim and I focus so strongly on research. Don't take it for granted.
And don't take anybody's word for it, not even ours.
No.
Do your own research.
Don't take it for granted that when you read the story of Joseph marrying an Egyptian woman and producing a couple of children, don't take it for granted what the name of his father-in-law means. And then you can begin to connect the dots.
Yeah.
Because back then, and we all know it, names had a very specific meaning.
Like Heliopolis.
Like Heliopolis, city of the sun. Oh! How
So
many?
if you're a priest of On or Heliopolis, then that means you're a priest of the sun.
You're a priest of the sun. And when you really do your research and you begin to think, stop and think about, in Ezekiel, it says that Lucifer is the bright shining star. I forget the exact words they use. But in the book of Ezekiel, Lucifer is the bright morning star. In the book of Revelation, Jesus takes on that saying, the bright morning star. Wait a minute. Had you ever stopped to think that that's a connection to sun worship? Because, hey, friends, we only have in this part of the galaxy one bright morning star, and that's the sun. S-U-N. Thank you, Marvin. It's the S-U-N. And of course, when that sun comes up in the morning and it's bright, what happens to the rest of the suns in our universe? You can't see them because you only have one sun that obscures everything else. It's all about sun worship, along with the family slaughter of one another. It's not difficult any longer when you spend the time to research and look these things through. It's not difficult.
So thank you everybody so much for watching, and welcome to all our new subscribers.
Oh my goodness.
My goodness, you know, I've kind of been keeping an eye on the subscribers, so welcome all of you to our channel. My goodness, so many new ones, and it just floored me. I just happened to be on our dashboard, and just to see, you know, how many views we had on a video, what our top video views was. And there's one video we've had over 300,000 views. And I believe it was Watchtower in Trouble, or Jehovah's Witnesses in Trouble, something like that. Over 300,000 views. So thank you so much, everybody. My goodness, we couldn't do this without you. And I mean, according to YouTube, we've had over 1,200 subscribers in the past 28 days. My goodness, that is so humbling. And yeah. I mean, we were just so surprised. So thank you.
Yes, it's not arrogance, it's confidence. Because we've studied and we've researched, and I'm going to put together a video that's going to be a huge eye opener, and it has to do with the sun growing dark on the day of Jesus's execution. Wait a minute, sun growing dark? My God, why have you forsaken me?
Don't they say on a certain date, too, which they believe is the day Jesus actually died, there was a solar eclipse?
Oh my God, why have you forsaken me? Maybe I don't need to do a video because we just gave it all away right here. It's not difficult, friends. You just have to spend some time researching. And I'm not the only ex-religious person to recognize what's behind those words. My God, why have you forsaken me? Those words coincidentally happened to be uttered right at the same time a solar eclipse was happening. How was that not sun worship and saying the sun, my God? See, Watchtower has to spin it a different way so that you Jehovah's Witnesses do not fully comprehend that you are in a religion like all of Christendom. They all worship the sun.
Yeah. So anyway, I am working on emails for the nail and coffin, because we're still going to do the people nail and coffin. So we're doing our list. So if you want to be on the nail and coffin, just email me at Kimmy M. Brooks, KIMMY BROOKS @gmail.com, and just put nail and coffin.
You got to remember, friends, we've been on this journey for 7 strong years now. And we're glad and excited that a lot of you are seeing the things that we have already known and figured out in times past. Please keep up your journey, keep studying, keep researching, and you have the mental capacity to sort all this through. See, learn what a red herring argument is. Learn what a straw man argument is learn when you're trying to have a discussion where somebody deflects. Learn the importance of those type of arguments.
And how when they are losing, they start name calling or just delete your comments.
Yeah, or do some misguiding title to a video, hubris, arrogance, and all of these negative things. And that
All negative.
that is either a description of that person's self, or they do not want to acknowledge that the person you're dealing with has confidence in what he's studied, what he's researched, and how he's been able to connect certain things, such as the sacred secret. How do you know you're one of the anointed? That's a sacred secret. Wink, wink, Smurf girl.
Yeah, when you get down to it and find out what some of these ancient sacred secrets really were, and the initiation into these secret societies, these secret cults. Oh yeah,
Exactly.
that's another whole rabbit hole. So, like I said, thank you everyone so much for your emails and comments and phone calls. We appreciate it. And we're just running really behind on everything. I know so many of you want to call us and Skype with us, but we're just inundated right now. So we appreciate the love and support, and we hope you all, are well and stay safe and
remember, Jonas, you have a stash of toilet paper. You need to be willing to share for those that don't have.
Wow. Wow. Which,
Here we go. Yeah.
I know. I was going to say
We
goodbye.
ain't leaving yet.
I was going to say goodbye. But Jonas, Goat Like Personality, just did a great video. Have you seen this book? Okay? Now, he played a clip where I believe it was saying, we do things as tastefully as we can from the Bible for children. Do you call that tasteful for children?
Well, but honey, they didn't show the blood. But you'll sure as hell show the head on the silver platter, won't you, Watchtower?
It's interesting because we spent the day yesterday with our kids, and I told my
happy
daughter.
birthday.
Thank you, and thank you for the cards, everyone. I told my kids about what Lep had said and how they tastefully do things, and it's in the Bible, so we can show it to children. And she's like, "Are you kidding me? Look at the Bible stories and all of their talk of Armageddon." She says it gave her nightmares. And I don't think Watchtower realizes of how damaging this is to small children.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. And they have to scare them into submission. And this is why you've got little kids getting baptized.
That's right. It's exactly right.
And this is why you've got JWs doing videos like this one showing that, the rest of the world is going to be killed by Jehovah, and they're going to be crying and wanting to kill their clergy because you told us not to study with Jehovah's Witnesses. Well, when all of this is over, we're already working on a very mocking video to mock Watchtower and the Jehovah's Witnesses of this was not the start of the Great Tribulation.
That's right.
That's not arrogance, that's not pride, it's just
confidence.
Observation.
Yep.
We've been through this before. Remember, we're from the 1975 generation. We've been through all of this before. Are we finally ready to say goodbye?
I hope so. Well, just one quick observation. Having watching Goat Like Personalities video, how can the Jehovah's Witnesses take Let and Morris seriously when they say, oh, this is what we've been praying for. You know, the Bible says, yada, 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 these are the final part of the last days. When you watch their propaganda bullshit on how they're putting together these Bible movies behind green screens, look at the amount of money that is being spent on all that production equipment.
And in one of the clips, it showed it took 45 days to film one of these.
Yeah, so Jehovah's Witnesses, when you begin to see your summer conventions being broadcast on jw.org, keep in mind, more than likely, these are done behind a green screen, and they can make those stadiums look jam-packed. Look, brothers and sisters, we're growing by leaps and bounds. Just go to our broadcast. Look at the full arena. They've already exposed you that they're doing most of this behind a green screen.
Well, you just mentioned Aunt Mo when he said, cheer up, this is what we've been waiting for. Then I have to question. Then they talk about so many Jehovah's Witnesses getting sick with COVID and dying.
This is what we've been praying for.
So you proudly say, cheer up, this is what we've been waiting for. Oh yeah, we know a lot of you JWs are dying from COVID, but cheer up because this is what we're waiting for. Do you not see how sick that is? Wow.
Very disgusting.
Yeah. I know.
Oh well. All right, I say let's say goodbye for good now, because it's going to take you a little bit to edit this, because as you will know, there was a few breaks in between because, you know, one of us, if not both of us, namely me, lost my train of thought. Oops.
So you all have a great week.
Bye.